And there's a new twist, speaking of enforcement, which we sort of skimmed over, that there may be an amendment introduced to also add criminal penalties.
No, of course.
So up till now, there haven't been criminal penalties on that bill, but Senator Leahy of Vermont introduced a bill last week to add criminal penalties, and word is that it may get tacked on as an amendment to Senate Bill 510.
What are the prospects for the bill? Is it looking bad, like it's going to pass?
You know, this thing, I've given up trying to predict this thing because I've made so many incorrect predictions on it in the last year, Alex. Senator Coburn from Oklahoma is very strongly opposing passage of the bill currently. His main issue that he's talked about the most is the financial impacts of it and the fact that it would increase the debt. You know, this is an unfunded mandate. But there's some indication that they may be able to work that out and bring the bill to a vote next week. I think if it comes to a vote, it will pass. I think if it comes to the floor of the Senate, there are going to be enough senators who don't want a headline that reads, you know, Senator so-and-so opposes food safety bill, that it will ultimately pass if it comes to a vote.
So
there's room for it not to come to a vote, and B, if it comes to a vote, we need an amendment to exempt our small-scale producers. It's not perfect. It's not the optimum. You know, it's not everything I would have wanted, but it's a good, strong amendment that's being proposed by Senator Tester.
And they just sell this hysteria of, oh, something's on the spinach coming from big factory farms. Oh, you know, the eggs, again, big mega farm, big production facility. Meanwhile, I've done the research, listened to Derry Brownfield as constant guest on covering this. It's on record that they do almost nothing to look at pork, beef, poultry, produce coming out of Latin America, coming out of Asia. Almost all the enforcement is just harassing the living daylights out of small farms and ranches.
And again, that's not going to really change under this bill. The bill does have provisions to deal with foreign facilities, but there are two big catches to that. The biggest catch is it deals with third-party certifiers. So, you know, they're going to go hire companies in China to inspect Chinese facilities.
Well, we also have the FDA saying melamine in milk is not bad for children. Pull up the AP headline, melamine not, some melamine not bad for children. So something that causes kidney failure and death, they say that's okay from China, but Judith McGeary, she's not going to make blackberry jam.
Exactly. I mean, what we need, the track record of imported food is very poor. I mean, it's very, very bad. And the idea that third-party certification, that hiring companies within those countries is going to somehow solve the problem, really sort of defies normal common sense and defies the track record. It defies what we've seen happening. I spoke with one of my folks, actually, who has a supplement company, and he was telling me he brings in ingredients from China. He does. But they do quality control, and he kept hiring companies in China to try to do quality control over there. And every time it failed. You know, every time the company, the quality control folks basically sold out, and he had to, return a bunch of stuff and keep doing the quality control here. And he's a private company, and he chooses to do that.
Did you know about 92% or more, but the numbers I see are 92% of our vaccines are now made in China?
You know, that's a terrifying number.
But again, that's not the problem, though. It's people selling pumpkins.
And it's, they say that, and I hear health inspectors talk about how dangerous food in the open air is.
Oh.
It's amazing. They're scared of open air. And the track record, again, I like going to track records. I like going to what have we seen. We don't see foodborne illnesses coming out of the small producers. Occasionally, very small, very sporadic.
And the media trumpets it when it does.
But it's so rare. And when it does happen, you know immediately where it comes from. You know immediately how to stop it. It's not, it's not a widespread issue.
Well, let's give the bottom line. They irradiate the meat, they MSG, all this stuff. They know it's the big mega producers that are as dirty as you can imagine. And they know they can't compete with good locally produced food that's organic and non-GMO. And they know there's a rebellion worldwide to it. Everything that's happening here is happening worldwide because this is UN written, as I said earlier. What are some other attacks separate from the bill S510 that folks need to really get on today, tomorrow, and next week? But what are some of the other attacks? I know there's a lot of other stuff going on I see the IRS 3 years ago saying, hey, if your farm or ranch doesn't make money, you work in town but still run it just to keep your farm, to pay the taxes. That's not enough. We're going to get rid of any tax exemptions you have. I mean, they're really pulling the stops out.
I think that, gosh, the list of threats is so long. I mean, right now, the most immediate one is Senate Bill 510. I mean, that's the one that is happening right now. You know, long-term animal ID is still out there. It's not dead. It's still a continuing issue. We've got issues of GMOs. There's a lot of fighting. There's actually a very current fight happening over genetically engineered salmon. And, you know, if they manage to push through...
Oh, yeah, the FDA is going to approve a GMO cross-species that's had insect genes added and will extinct regular salmon, major universities have found. That's okay, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, according to FDA it is, but we've got a chance to fight it.
Exactly, that's okay.
It would be the first animal.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I said this is a key fight because it would be the first animal. So, you know, if we can stop them from approving it, it puts a major barrier in their way. If they approve it, well, guess what? The next thing on the list is genetically engineered pigs. So, you know, Center for Food Safety is doing excellent work on the genetically engineered salmon issue, and that's a very current and very immediate issue. There's also regulations that are trying to reduce the control of the big agribusinesses over the market, just the livestock market. And we're working on that issue in coordination with other groups and trying to get rules passed, and that's coming up over the next couple of months. So, you know, there's this back and forth. We're fighting back against agribusiness and trying to break that control, and at the same time trying to prevent them from getting new bad legislation and regulations in.
Well, going back to the salmon, here's all these fake environmentalists that want to put taxes on carbon dioxide that plants breathe. Meanwhile, they want to approve a salmon which, in major controlled trials, kills and extincts the other natural salmon, and it's a genetically engineered cross-species clone. I mean, this is incredible. And they allow open-air planting of GMO cross-species plants everywhere that major studies show are killing the bees, you name it. They don't care about that. They want to send inspectors to your pecan farm, to your orange orchard. They want to shut down your... I mean, it's just outrageous, Judith, and thank God you're there fighting these people. What are some of the other threats to let folks know briefly?
I'm running out of issues. Not that I'm running out. There are so many, but those are the immediate ones, and that's how I tend to focus because God knows we've got our hands full. And GMOs is a big one. We had, it was the most popular talk at our conference. We had a farmer who's doing research on the effects of GMOs on health speak at our conference, and he showed pictures of what GMO corn is doing to pig stomachs. You know, what animals that are fed GMO corn, here's what their stomachs look like. And you look at them and you feel sick and you go, oh, everybody I know with Crohn's disease, digestive problems, heartburn, I wonder if that might be because most of the corn and soybeans in this country are GMO. You know, it's really scary
GMO to produce their own pesticide in them, so if bugs eat it, they die, but then they feed it to us. Gee, that's not hard to figure out.
And, you know, the sad thing is, I've actually seen a lot of a lot of people out there saying things like GMOs reduce the use of herbicides. Well, the major GMO crops, the most widespread ones, are what's called Roundup-ready crops. The whole point of them is that you can plant them and then spray the fields with Roundup, a herbicide, without killing the crop. You just kill everything else. The whole point of these GMO crops, frankly, is to allow for increased use of herbicides.
Yeah, but they have all the BT stuff that grows a pesticide in the plant. It's a pharmacological crop.
That, too. That's another branch of them. So, you know, the GMOs, you know, this fight with the GE salmon, there are fights over sugar beets going on, genetically engineered sugar beets, genetically engineered alfalfa. These are ongoing fights that are happening, and they are incredibly important because the problem is you can't choose to really opt out of the system easily because of the reasons you were just saying. The fish escape, the crops cross-pollinate. You know, the only way to protect ourselves is to start limiting the use of these GMO crops.
Judith, we're out of time. I look forward to having you on in the near future. God bless you. I want to get you in studio. I know you live outside Austin on your family farm. And I think another thing is for everybody to Google local food co-ops or farmers markets. Start going out. The journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. If we move this movement of real, local, healthy food and really make it grow even faster, that'll give them even more targets to go after. Resistance is victory. We're going to come back and cover some financial news, but I really appreciate you spending time with us today. farmandranchfreedom.org. The bill's S510. Call your senators. Thank you, Judith.
Thank you, Alex.
Wonderful lady. We're going to come back, hit some of the latest news on the economy and the police state on the other side of this quick break.